delightful. And if that's what's resonating in your heart, I want to tell you right here, right now, this CD is available at our e-store. Forgiven, Onofrio, wonderful music. And there's where you need to make connection, crossroads.ca, or you can call 1-800-265-3100. But you're going to want to wait till the end because I'm going to ask Onofrio to come on up here right now. And let's find out more about you. I don't think we had a full visit when you were here last time.
No, we didn't.
And you have a story.
Yes.
First of all, you come from Onofrio.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Well, my parents come from there. I was born here. But
were you born in Canada?
Yes, I was born here.
And that is in Italy. Where in Italy?
In Calabria, the south part of Italy.
Oh, I'm sure you've been back.
Just once, but I've been meaning to go back, and hopefully with my wife, Sally, we'll take a visit there.
So we talked about your wife, Sally, last time.
Yes, we did.
Oh, I remember that. But here's what I did not know. You are a classical musician professionally, and you teach.
Yes.
But at some point, you were told to find another career because of an incurable problem.
Yeah. Well, it started probably about just before I got married, about 5 years ago. I was playing, and I was noticing that one of my fingers on my right hand wasn't responding properly. It was kind of weird. As a guitar player, classical guitar player, I would move it, but it wouldn't move the way I wanted to move. So I didn't think too much of it, but it started getting worse and worse and worse to a point where I couldn't play anymore.
What was it called? It was diagnosed.
Well, it was diagnosed. I ended up going to finally decided to go to the doctor, the hospital, and they said, you have focal dystonia. And I said, focal dystonia. Yeah, I didn't know what it was either. And I said, okay, well, that's good. At least you know what it is. Can you fix it? And they said, no, there's no cure for it. And they knew I was a guitar player, and they said, well, you know, you might want to think of a different career.
Devastating.
So, well, I'll tell you more. It was a lonely walk home when I left the hospital, really lonely. And it's funny because, it's funny now, but it happened, I remember one time I was praying, and I said, God, I give this my talent. I actually lifted up my guitar and I said, God, I'm going to dedicate my music to you. And it happened after that. So it was kind of confusing.
Felt like a backfired.
Well, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You gave it to God and he took it away.
Well, yeah, interesting. Yeah.
And it would be a whole year of living with that death sentence to your career.
Well, what happened, it's funny because I was always trying to hear God, listen to God. Okay, God, are you going to heal me? Are you going to heal me? One day, a friend of mine, we were talking about doctors, and he just said, you know, my doctor is the best doctor in the world. So I said, okay, is that you, God? And he said, Onofrio, my friend, he said, Onofrio, let's just say something's wrong with your finger. And he didn't know. And as soon as he said that, I go, you know, maybe I should go see your doctor.
He didn't know that your problem was one finger.
No, he just said that out of the blue. So I'm thinking, okay, God, is that you? So I found out where his doctor was, and I went to go see him. And you know, I told him my story, and he goes, no, he goes, I'm going to send you to a specialist. And he gave me the specialist name. I go, no, but I went there, and he said, there's no hope, right? There's nothing you can do. So as I'm walking out, he stopped and he said, have you had this test done? I think it's like a nerve test. I'm not really sure of the name. I said, no. So he sent me to another place where they tested my nerves, and the doctor said, he says, look, there's nothing wrong with you. Everything's okay. I said, okay, God, maybe you healed me. So I literally ran home, if you can imagine. I ran home, get my guitar. Nothing, it was still the same. So
couldn't play.
But then I said, no, God, you've healed me. And I'm just going to keep believing. I'm going to keep believing that you've healed me. And even though my hand wasn't working, I kept believing. And it just came back, and actually my hand is stronger than it's ever been, and I feel like I can play more than I ever have before. So.
Wow. What a test for a young believer. You didn't come to know the Lord till you were in your mid-30s.
Yeah, around 36 years old.
What brought that about?
Well, just...
How did he get your attention that time?
Well, just a void, like this constant void, right? And something's missing, and I don't know how to describe it, like a loneliness or maybe a bit of depression. It was kind of a weird feeling, but it was really intense. It was, you know, be honest, I just literally wanted to take my hand, put it down my throat, and just like tear it out, whatever it was, right?
Sometimes called spiritual homesickness.
Is that what it is?
We're
Yeah.
separated from the one who made us for himself.
Yeah.
Somebody's missing.
Yeah, that's right. And that started my journey, searching for God, and it got to a point where that it was just overwhelming that I actually, when I went home to my apartment, I said, God, if you even exist, I got to that point. You have to do something. You have to change my life. You have to do something. And that's when the journey started, and I eventually got to meet him, and then that's how it started.
And I'll just talk about Fast Track. 2000, you went to a church, and you were asked about prayer requests.
Oh, yeah, that's
What did you ask for?
Well, I met my pastor, Pastor Mary Jane Bellenduke, and I started attending the church, and she found out that I play guitar, and she says, oh, wow, we need a guitar player. I said, okay. And then she goes, what are you praying for? And she says, well, I told her I'm actually praying for a wife. And she looked at me, and I looked kind of young. It was back then. And she goes, well, you're kind of young. You got a lot of time. But I said, well, I'm 40 years old. She goes, oh, we better pray right away. So,
2002, you met Sally.
Yes.
You married in 2008.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Just really moving forward with the Lord. It's so beautifully expressed in your music. In the first piece, you talked about sin.
Yes.
And we were talking in the green room, and you were excited to express that God provides a pathway out of sin.
He does.
It's
yeah.
not just be holy.
You're right. You're right.
It's God's Ways and Means Committee. How did you experience that?
Well, it's just you want to get out of sin, because when you get to know Jesus, you can't live in both worlds, and you struggle to get out, but sometimes you fail, and you're saying, how do I get out of this? But then God will give you strategies, like actual practical things that you can do. And for one of the things for me, it was to capture every thought and bring it into the captivity of Christ's obedience. So I started to practice that, and then I noticed I wouldn't be tempted as easy, and I'd be more focused on living a sinless life. That helped me.
Spiritual disciplines.
That's what it was.
They're there in God's Word.
But for me, it was the practical part about it that really helped me capture every thought, and it's the truth.
Now, I happen to have visited, just discovered this, the church where you worship and
Yes.
serve
Yes.
a couple of weeks ago.
That's
I was
funny that you were there.
at an operatic
Interesting.
recital. It
Yeah.
was beautiful. If I'd known, I would have brought a picture, because the sanctuary begged photographs. St. Stephen in the Field.
Yes.
If
yeah.
you Google it, you see pictures of that church over 100 years ago with a field around it. Now just try and get a parking place near it. Good chance you'll get a ticket.
Yeah.
It's right in the heart of what, Danforth and
No, on College,
College.
it's in between Bathurst and Spadina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy down there,
Oh,
but the
yes.
sanctuary's gorgeous.
It is.
And what kind of wonderful things are you involved with there,
Well,
Onofrio?
we have service there at 1:30 in the afternoon, and actually my wife and I, we lead the praise and worship there, and that's a blessing. And then also we have another service at 6 at night, where we have a service, and then we have a meal for the people in the community.
A lot of needy people
Yeah, yeah.
in that part of town.
Yeah, but they're all like, it's just it's such a blessed place to be. My wife and I, every time we leave Sunday night, we say, wow, that was so awesome that we were there. It just almost gives you like energy for the week. Such a blessing.
Given it shall be given you.
Yeah.
There is so much reward when we reach out to others.
There is more.